Hello, how's it going? This is John Pinkowski with Pacific Northwest Computers out of Vancouver, Washington. I just wanted to do a quick video on some bootable media that I use for diagnosing, stress testing, and just doing general work on systems that either I can't get into or are non-bootable. Or in an instance, let's say I want to do a virus removal, but actually trying to run the system as it is, it's going to be next to impossible to do that. So it gives us a clean environment to access the drives locally without actually having to run the system itself off the local hard drive. Okay, so I'm definitely a big fan of bootable operating systems, or at least bootable systems that let me be able to do work. And probably my two biggest go-to are the Sergey Strelic. I'm probably messing that up. He has like a WinPE environment that he's created that has a ton of tools in it for hard drive work, stress testing, data recovery, password removal, all sorts of stuff. And it's actually kind of a spin-off of Hiren's Boot CD, which is a bootable environment. It actually used to be CD based, and now you can actually get it set up to be able to boot from USB. But it's got so many things, so many tools, whether it's like you need to look up information, try to recover data, erase a hard drive, network information, password removal, all sorts of stuff. And these two are probably my number one go-to bootable, whether it's USB or an external drive system, so I can do anything that I need to do. Another one that's a little bit newer that I've had around for probably over a year, but it's only been the last few months I've really started to use it more frequently, and that's MediCat. And this is a Ventoy operating system kind of distribution thing. So Ventoy is like a multi-boot environment that you can install on an external hard drive or a thumb drive. So that way you can load different ISO disk images and all sorts of stuff onto the disk, and then you can pretty much boot from any of those images. But also included with this is like a whole portable apps setup. So if the computer's operational, you could actually plug this into a computer, and then in its own little kind of bubble, it creates like its own application sphere where you can do everything from the bootable environment, but it doesn't affect the local system since you're running it locally from either the USB drive or external hard drive you have it all installed on. So yeah, that's just kind of like a basic rundown. The reason why I've been using this more is that there's a lot more systems now that are UEFI compatible. For a long time there, I'm in Vancouver, Washington, so I see a lot of old systems. Folks out here aren't exactly on the bleeding edge of technology. So it's really only been in the last year that I'm seeing predominantly UEFI and even like modern UEFI boarded systems. So this has become a lot more handy with being able to access the local hardware and just kind of be able to stress and test things a lot more thoroughly and a lot more effectively on newer systems. And essentially it's these guys just kind of put together their own little system based off of Ventoy. So I actually have run into so many problems trying to get this installed through their like Windows installer that they have. Quick. There's like a batch file that you can download, and your antivirus is going to go absolutely nuts because there's all these hacking tools and password removal tools and key lookup tools. That you have to turn all of that stuff off, number one. Number two, though, for some reason, it's like a 5 out of 10, it'll actually fully complete and work. Usually it gets like 60-70% of the way through, and then for some reason something will lock up and freeze and you're dead in the water. You got to start it all over again. It's just been a hassle. So I kind of came up with my own way of getting MediCat installed, and I kind of just wanted to show that in this video. So yeah, instead of just running the installer from the MediCat website, what I actually do is I just download from one of the mirrors the full 7-zip, if you want to say disk image, or the full distribution folder that you can download just by itself. when I actually have that downloading right now, the 7-zip file. And then what I do is I actually will go get Ventoy by itself, and I'll actually download, install their little, installation and setup utility. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to set up our external drive using this Ventoy installer just to get everything set up, get everything running. And then what we're going to do is then decompress and copy all of the stuff from that 7-zip folder or the disk image folder and put it all into where it needs to go on the disk according to the Ventoy, where you have to put things. And that'll be it. That way you don't have to run the script. The security software and stuff still needs to be off because it's going to be scanned, but I've just found this to be way, way, way smoother of a process, and 8 to 9 times out of 10, it'll be successful. So that's why I wanted to show people how I do this, just because this is like, if I need to get this installed and running ASAP, going through their batch file, just, not gonna happen. But also too, I should take away the ASAP. It does take a while. Anyways, so here we go. All right, so first things first, downloading the Windows zip of Ventoy. Whoops, let me go back another step. Ventoy windows.zip. Then once that actually downloads, we get that all opened and extracted. Now we're gonna run. It's this thing. I know, running bad things. Okay. I'm looking for is I have an M2 solid state drive. I'm actually going to install this on. So let's make sure. I think we have to actually initialize and or at least do an initial format of the drive. So let me get this all turned on. We go. Our is quick little partition. I like to switch it to exFAT just because that's what like a thumb drive would use, and whatever reason I've had problems where if it's on NTFS, you won't see it. So I just like to go exFAT right out of the gate. There we go. So now we have the 256J drive. So now I'm going to click on install. I'm going to format everything off the drive. We're going to say yes. Okay, warning again. Yes, it's okay. Perfect. Okay, so now Ventoy is actually installed and this disk is actually ready to be able to be plugged into a computer and be able to start doing, booting from ISOs and all that fun stuff. But the next part of this all is that we need to actually transfer over all of the MediCat data once this download finishes. So we'll be back here in just a minute once that download's done and we'll get that transfer all done. Okay, so we've got the MediCat thing all nicely downloaded. Open this up in 7-zip. And then what I usually will do is I will take just all of this stuff and we'll say extract. Then go to the Ventoy drive that we made. There we go. Okay, click OK. Let's click OK. And let it do its thing. It'll decompress everything from here into the either USB drive or solid state drive, whatever that you're using. And then you essentially will have completed the whole configuration and setup of MediCat without having to use the batch file or running into any of the issues when using their batch file. So I'll come back here in just a little bit once this transfer is done and I'll show you what it did. One thing I totally forgot to mention that we need to actually turn off all of the security stuff. Otherwise, the antivirus is going to go crazy because of what's on there. So go into your manager settings and turn off all of the real-time protection, all of this stuff. There we go. No other security stuff running. Nope. Okay. Now we should be totally in the clear. Because at some point this will hit something and your antivirus very likely could pop up and be like, hey, this is a bug. And then this whole decompression thing gets thrown off and it can corrupt the actual file that you downloaded. So I'm glad I caught that before anything did actually happen and could show you what you needed to do. Okay, so now we can close all this fun stuff out. And you can see now we actually have the full Ventoy drive. So what I'm going to do, everything worked well. The portable apps should start and eject and reconnect drive. Okay, so let me do that really quick. And there we go. This just gives you a taste of all the different things that are actually on this utility drive. It's just got so much stuff. I mean, I could do several videos about everything you can do, how to do it, all that fun stuff, but that'll be for a different day at a different time. But as you can see, it's got anything and everything you could possibly think of. It's just a great little like Swiss Army knife, if you want to say, for doing work with computers. So I hope this video helps folks with being able to get MediCat set up. I love what they're doing. And then I also may do a follow-up video if folks have issues with getting MediCat to actually boot, as there is a security certificate thing that you need to install for secure boot to allow you to boot from its UEFI path. But that'll again be for another video. But at any rate, I hope someone can get some information from this, or this helps someone out. Again, John with Pacific Northwest Computers, and I hope you have a great day. Please like, subscribe, and post any comments about any kind of questions or input or anything at all. Thanks so much. Have a great one.